Hello there everyone, it's Marie here from Nicole Designs. I'm making 3 cards today using this Like a Lotus stamp set from Unity Stamps. This is such a gorgeous image. It's a huge image of these lotus flower, and I just want to show you 3 simple ways to use this stamp on cards. So the first way is I'm simply going to stamp it out and color it. This is a beautiful image, and just coloring it alone will give you a clean and simple note that you can send to someone. And the sentiments in this stamp set are just encouraging, and I thought they were ironically appropriate for the situation that we find ourselves in right now, with just being at home and waiting out this coronavirus thing. I hope everyone is being safe. We've just been praying and sending love to everyone here at home, and we're going to do our best to stay home and not spread this thing. So I'm hoping that bringing more card videos will help some of you through this time stuck at home. Anyway, like I mentioned, I went ahead and I stamped out this lotus. I'm going to color it now with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. These are watercolor markers. You add a little bit of color down, and then once you come in with your water pen, like I'm doing right here, your water brush, you can move that color around. So it's like watercolor in a marker. And the way I love to use these watercolor markers, these zigs, is I just put a little bit of pigment down where I want my color to be darkest, and then I come in with my water brush and I just pull that color out. And the paper that I'm using is Bristol Smooth, because I have found the very best results on Bristol with using these zigs. I've used watercolor paper and that works as well, but there's just something about the Bristol Smooth. I think it's just so smooth that it really allows that color to move around on your paper. Now, it's not a watercolor paper. It is nice and thick, so it's going to hold a little bit of water, but you really don't want to dump tons of water on this paper. It is not a watercolor paper, but it does hold a little bit of color, a little bit of water. So if you're using a water brush, you're going to be fine, but I wouldn't suggest like spraying water onto your paper or anything. So I've got my green down and I'm coming in with yellow, and I want to blend these 2 colors together. I want these leaves to look like they're going from green out until yellow. So I'm putting some yellow on the edges of the leaves and then blending it back into the green. And these zigs blend beautifully together. You can use them with your water brush, or you can just color on top of each other and get a more vibrant look, and they blend well that way as well. Now I have the set of 36 Zig Clean markers, and I'm seriously contemplating getting the full set. I think there's like 96 markers or something like that. I just love them so much. I think they look really great when you blend them together, and I have fun coloring with them. So they are a marker that I've found easy to use, and they work for me. I love the look for them, so I'm willing to go and invest more on them. If you're not too sure about them, you could always go and get a smaller set of zigs, try them out, see how you like them, before investing in the full set. They do take a little bit of work to get used to. I used to think I didn't like them because I was using them on the wrong paper, and once I switched to Bristol Smooth, everything changed. They just work beautifully on the Bristol Smooth paper. I cannot recommend it enough. So now that my leaves are colored, I'm coming in with pinks on my flowers, and I'm not going to show you the whole coloring process because I have 3 cards that I want to get through today and show you, but my basic coloring is I do my lightest color, my mid-tone color, my darkest color, and then I go back and blend them all together. So I usually use 2 or 3 colors and blend them out until it looks the way I want. You can see here I'm leaving some spaces for some highlights on those flowers, and I went back in with a little bit of yellow, which is a little bit different, and then I put some purple for the shadows on this lotus. Now I'm simply just going to stamp my sentiment here and call this a day, or call it a card. So I'm using my scrapbook.com hybrid ink again, and that's the ink that I used to stamp this out. It's permanent once it's dry, so you can use it with any kind of medium, whether it's Copics or zigs or colored pencils. So I stamped that sentiment out. I'm mounting it on some foam adhesive onto my card base, And that finishes my card. I did go back and add some clear sequins after I was done, before I took my photograph, so you can see those there. But just stamping and coloring makes a beautiful note card that you can send to someone. So the second way I want to show you that you can use this image is to stamp a pattern with it. Now, the shape of this flower seems to work really well by turning it on your background and stamping out a pattern. So I'm using it on some of this light greenish gray cardstock here, and I'm going to stamp it out using my pigment ink. Now, I've been using the scrapbook.com white pigment ink, and I find that it works surprisingly well for a pigment ink. It gives you a nice crisp image, which is what we all go for when we're stamping. I did use my Misty so I could stamp it 2 or 3 times to make sure I really got a nice image, but you can see how pretty this is just stamped out by itself on this colored cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and take this image, turn it again, line it up to where it's going to fit with that first image that I stamped. I'm going to ink it up and stamp it again. And I'm going to keep doing that with my image. I'm just going to keep stamping it, repositioning it to where I think it fits, and stamping it again. I ended up stamping it about 4 times, and I was really pleasantly surprised every time I repositioned this stamp. It just seemed like it fit perfectly for moving it around and stamping out a pattern background. So I think this is a great image that you can get a lot of use for. I have to say, Unity's red rubber stamps are very good quality. You sometimes don't even need a Misty if you stamp with these red rubber stamps. You put it on a stamp block, stamp it out, and it gives you a great image. So their quality for the red rubber stamps are top notch. I love the Unity stamps. So I've gone ahead and I've stamped out my whole pattern background here. And now, since I'm using a white pigment ink does take a little bit longer to dry, so I'm going to give it a little bit of time. And then I'm coming in with this Midas Touch Sparkle Aqua Shimmer pen, I think that's what it's called, from Nuvo, Tonic Studios. And I'm just going to add some shimmer and sparkle to the petals of every flower here. If you don't want to do sparkles, you could go in with Copics. You could go, well, I don't know about Copics, coloring on a pigment ink, it might smear. But you could definitely do colored pencils or some other kind of coloring medium. Or you could just leave it as is. Don't do any coloring at all, because I think this pattern background looks really pretty just the way it is. But I decided to go in and add some shimmer on those flowers. I added the sentiment on a strip on the bottom, and I just mounted it on a card base, and that was it. So the third way I'm going to show you to use this stamp set is to color it and cut it out. Now, I've done that off camera because you've already seen me color it once, and all you have to do is cut it out. It's a pretty easy image to cut out, and I want to show you how to build a background to now layer that cutout image on top of. So I'm using my scrapbook.com hybrid ink. I'm using the color Rubber Ducky here. It's a really bright yellow, and I've been really pleasantly surprised at how vibrant these hybrid inks are from scrapbook.com. Now, after I've put my yellow down, I'm coming in with some orange on the side. I want some really vibrant color on this one side of my card base, so I'm just blending these two together. And this orange cream and the Rubber Ducky color, they blend together really beautifully, so I love that pop of color on the side here. Now, after I have my ink blending done, I'm going to go ahead and do some stenciling with Embellishment Mousse. Now, I am using this yellow color of mousse, and I have all the links below of the products that I've used. So if you're interested in any of the products I'm using, just check the description box below. I have links to where you can get these items. I'm using my Tonic Nuvo media spatula just to apply this embellishment mousse over this Altenew stencil. I think this is their broken chevron stencil, and it's a really nice design just to kind of halfway stencil it behind your image. You don't have to stencil the whole thing, but it does add some texture and some interest behind your flowers when you add it to your card front. Now, once you're done stenciling, you can always take your stencil and your media spatula to your sink, wash them off with warm soap and water, which is what I did. And I let this embellishment mousse dry. and I'm going to add some splatters because we love splatters, right? So I'm taking some of this Shimmer, the sparkle spray from Nuvo. This is a new color from their Tropical Paradise collection. And I'm just taking it, and I'm actually just splattering with the little nozzle. Now you can pour a little out onto your glass mat, pick it up with a brush, and splatter it. I was just being a little lazy, and I didn't want to have to wash a paintbrush because I'm really bad at that. So I just took it out of the bottle, added some splatters that way, and now I'm ready to adhere my flower. So I'm going to pop it up on some foam adhesive over my background. I did allow this to dry. And I'm not going to have any problems with this sticking to that embellishment mousse or anything. I've got lots of foam tape on the back here. I'm just going to line it up and press it down. Now I've stamped out another sentiment from this Unity stamp set. I've embossed it with white embossing powder, and I've cut it into little strips so that I can arrange it on my card. Now this kind of finishes my third card for this stamp set. I hope you've enjoyed looking at this stamp set, just admiring the beauty of this flower. I think it's really fun that you can use it in several different ways. I hope I've given you some ideas and inspiration. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, hit that like button, leave a comment to tell me what you think, and tap the bell for notifications. Just do all the things, and I will catch you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.